What is good, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to Milwaukee Entertainment News. I'm your host, DJ Bro. We are sitting here with Dave Sundeen for the second time. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Yeah,
How are you?
man, I am better now that everything is working and running again how it's supposed to be, and I'm able to get back on to you. And thank you very much for agreeing to do that again.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I understand that.
Right.
That's
So you're the drummer in Shelly Mack. Obviously, you're a
I am the
drummer.
drummer. Yes, I am the drummer for Shelly Mack in Reunion.
Yeah.
Yes.
And how's everything been going? Is that your only project? You got other projects happening? What you got?
That is my only project now. I had another project going for the last couple of years. It's called Sucker Punch. But that didn't sustain. So uh, we decided to go different ways, and it's kind of a blessing in disguise actually, because I'm really like focusing on just Shelly Mack and Reunion. So I'm really good with that. Yeah,
Yeah.
at this point. So
Yeah. Yeah. For those that don't know, what kind of music do you guys do? And what are places that you typically frequent to play?
it's classic rock. Everything from, I would say, the mid '60s to we're even doing stuff from today, like Dorothy and stuff like that. So it's got this classic rock vibe. Um, Shelley's got this extremely soulful voice, and she is a great front person for this project. So uh, come out and see us, and you can see for yourself, I guess. We everything from Janis Joplin to Zeppelin to Nugent to Dorothy. Like I said, the new stuff Dorothy we're doing. Um, and everything in between. Got Aerosmith, some Starship, and it's pretty cool. I'm extraordinarily fortunate to be part of it. So
Nice.
here we are.
Where did you get your start on drumming?
I started when I was 10. I was 10 years old. Started on a snare drum, just like everybody else does. Snare drum practice pads, practice rudiments. Um, there's there's like 40 rudiments or whatever like that, and doing flams and paradiddles and rolls and all that stuff. And I still do that to this day. Actually, I still practice those things. And I started when I was 10. Haven't looked back. I'm 61 now. I'll be 62 this year, and so you're looking at 50 years plus of doing this. So I really enjoy it. It's the one thing that I really do enjoy. Uh, the whole my whole life. So there's other things I enjoy now, with my life now, but as it is, my whole life since I was 10, I've been playing drums. So, and it was my mom gave me a choice of what instrument to play, and I chose that. And I don't think my sisters really like that, but you know, constant pounding in the house, but uh, they live through it, and they come out and see me now, and so it's pretty cool.
Was drums your first instrument, or?
Actually, if I can remember correctly, we started on piano. All my sisters and I at the time, I think we all started on piano. So I had a few piano lessons, and it didn't. We got the choice to choose what instrument we wanted to continue with. So piano was one of them. We had a piano in the house. Both my parents played piano very well, by the way, and we just didn't. I didn't choose that instrument. I choose drums. So, and here I am, still doing it. So, my sisters, they have their own instruments that they played as well. So, yeah.
So, um, How many years have you been in Shelly Mack, and what bands were you in before that? And are those bands still doing stuff, or did they all close down? Or
I have been with Shelly Max since February of 2023, so just a little over a year.
nice.
Um, their drummer at the time uh, departed, and I had the opportunity to come in on this project, which is awesome. I was recommended by a very dear friend of mine, Steve Grimm of Bad Boy. He recommended to Shelley that I pursue this, and I was I'm extraordinarily thankful for him because here I am a year later, and we're moving forward with new music, and I think we're even going to dip into writing an original. So
Ooh.
it's yeah, yeah. I'm looking forward to that. So and great bunch of people, you know. I love them all to death, and here we are. So past bands, there's numerous ones. Started off a long time ago. Uh, First band, I think I was 12 or 13 at the time. Just a little three-piece outfit. I had my first drum set at the time, and that was a long time ago. And that didn't sustain. You know, it was just we, bunch of guys we got together, and that was it, just for fun. Uh, was in another band with a friend of mine, Greg, and we had one gig, and we played. I remember a long time ago, we played at this place down on the south side, down by Layton Avenue somewhere. It was this hall. I think I was 14 at the time, and it was one gig, and the only thing I can remember from that is our guitar player had this orange jumpsuit, and he looked like he was in jail or he just got out of jail, and we played. You know, like 10 years after, and Jimi Hendrix and stuff like that. And I can remember that. And so moving forward with that, when I was in a band called Savage with a friend of mine, Brian and Dave and Gordy and John. We played like Iron Maiden, and that's when Iron Maiden first came out, and we were doing some Iron Maiden and Judas Priest, and so it was heavier. It was a heavier kind of format, and that was fun. That was a lot of fun. Did that for a few years. Um, After that, I was in a band called Centerfold. Uh, they were after I was with them a couple of years, 2.5 years maybe, and I was the original drummer for Centerfold. That that whole entity went through about 7 drummers throughout the years, and I was the original drummer, and the some of the players from that are still playing. Actually, the singer Don, he's with Foreigner Forever now, and he's got that going. And a couple other people. I ran into a friend of mine from that band, Ken Dice, a friend of mine. He came to my show last week or 2 weeks ago at Rally Point. So I got to see him again, and I stay in touch with some of the other guys too as well. Um, After that, I took a hiatus for a while. I was married, and we had children, and I took a hiatus for a while, and I didn't do anything with bands. Still played, but I didn't do anything with bands. And then one day my daughter came to me and she said, "Hey, Dad, you should do that again." And I got into teaching. I taught uh, at a music store up in Plymouth, Wisconsin, and taught that for 3 years. And it was that was extraordinarily rewarding. Uh, you know, pass along my knowledge of what I could do to younger folks, and that was extraordinarily rewarding.
Right.
And yeah, so Yeah, and that got me into really playing the drums like all the time again. My daughter wanted to learn how to play, and so we got a drum set back in the house, and it was uh, it was a unique thing because I hadn't done it, per se in a band for so long, and then it took my daughters actually to say, "Hey, you need to do this. You're good at this. You need to do this again." And it reignited my passion for it, and that's what I did. And after that, I hooked up with a friend of mine. His name is Kerry, and another friend of mine, Steve. He lives right up the road from me, actually. And we had this little three-piece called Men in Black up in this area. We're up in the Random Lake area, and played around for 7 years. I think it was 7 years, if I can remember. Yeah, it was like 7 years we were together, and then didn't we had some things going on, didn't pan out, and I moved on to a band called Tobacco Road, and I still stay in touch with some of those guys, and unfortunately, Matt, our singer, had passed away a few years ago. That's unfortunate. But one of the guys, Doug, I still stay in touch with him, and he was actually the original bass player for Sucker Punch, which was the band I had just before Shelly Mank. And he decided he wanted some do some other things over the summer or whatever, so he left, and then that's when we got Chuck in, and that's how that was. But moving on from Tobacco Road, I went into a band called Third Wish, which was a band fronted by my friend Eddie Martinez. I don't know, you know Eddie.
Yep.
A lot of people, everybody in town, I think, knows Eddie Martinez. Great guy, love him to death. And we had that band together for a while, and then we decided uh, it just wasn't panning out, and people went their separate ways again. So we moved on, and I moved on with the guitar player from that band, Thomas Hunter. Uh, we together formed Headknocker, which was a Foreigner tribute band, which evolved into Foreigner Forever, which it is now. And we did that for a couple of years, and I decided to part ways with that. And right before that happened, though, um, I got a call from my friend Oscar Ramos, and he had an opportunity for me to join a band called Stripped, which was 80s hair metal or whatever, but it was all acoustic. It was like acoustic style. And there was our guitar player Brian. He played electric guitar, and the other two guys played Oscar and Gary. They played acoustic guitars,
It
and
was,
I was just the
it,
drums. I was just the drums behind it.
it was
And we just did, yeah, we did everything from all the hairband stuff, Poison, White Snake, Def Leppard, you know, stuff like that. So, but we did it kind of semi-acoustic style, which was it was a great it really was a great premise, and I enjoyed that tremendously. And then that kind of fizzled out, you know, and that's when I started a band called 3 Day Weekend, and it my bass player Chuck, him and I were doing a Scorpions tribute thing together, and we were also doing with he was also in Third Wish as well, and we were doing a Scorpions tribute thing, and that it didn't pan out. So Chuck and I, we kind of wanted to stay doing it, and so we formed this four piece called 3 Day Weekend, and we got a singer and another guitar player, and that's where my friend Jim came on board. And Jim and Chuck were Jim was the guitar player for Sucker Punch, and Chuck was the bass player for Sucker Punch, and our singer was Dave Schmidt from Boomer Nation, and so we had that together for a couple of seasons. So that's the whole timeline basically. In between all that, I'm doing this Kiss thing. It's an unmasked Kiss thing that we do with Dave Gonzalez and Chuck Fabian and Zach Zilka.
So unmasked, you don't do the makeup.
We don't do the makeup. Yeah, Dave
Oh,
used to do that. Dave used to put on a thing. It was called Paul and the Destroyers. Now it's just called the Destroyers, and we still do that. We actually have a gig coming up on that. So June 8th at Paulie's, I believe.
nice.
So yeah, so that's the whole timeline basically. And here we are, and now I'm with Shelly Mack. So and here I am.
Bet. What's your biggest takeaway from playing drums? Like, like, what motivates you to stay playing, whether you're in a band or not?
I would have to say it's being on the stage, be performing for people. Being on that stage is there's no other feeling like that in the entire world. So doing that for the majority of my life, it's just become part of me, and I get such a rush, whether it's one person or 1,000 person or people, it it's there's such a rush with being on stage and performing in front of people that if you're not a musician, you won't understand it. You know, some people get it. And they go, "Oh, I wish I could do that." I wish I could play an instrument. I wish I could do that. Well, you can. You just have to have the motivation and the will to do it. And then you'll understand what I feel and what many others feel on stage. So it's
It's definitely an
there's no
addicting
other
drug.
feeling like it
Yeah.
is. It is.
So,
Yep.
what's the funnest show you've done? The most fulfilling show you've done, where you've really felt like this is it. This is what I did it for.
Ooh. Um, I would have to say the, there's different venues, and like recently Shelly Mack, we did Rally Point out in Oconomowoc, the new place out in Oconomowoc. Great venue. It's absolutely stellar, and it's we had great sound and we had great. It was just a great vibe all around, and we shot a promo video out there that night, and the sound was great, and everybody looked great, and it was fantastic. I don't know if that was my greatest. You know, uh, I wish there would have been more people there, but a lot of things going on that night. But I don't know if it was the I would per se the greatest. I think every show is great. Every whether it's one person or like I said, 1,000 people. Every show is great. It doesn't matter how many people there. I guess it's just we go to perform and we put on a show, and people seem to you know come for the experience and like it. So
Right.
I would have to say every show is great. I love performing, so it's here I am.
Right.
So,
There's a lot going on in the scene, and it was funny. I'm doing that documentary on Dave Dillette, the maker of the Eternal documentary for Milwaukee music scene years ago. And it's crazy because even in that documentary, they were talking about all the musicians when they were interviewed. They were asked about what are problems in the scene that you see and what are things you'd like to see changed and everything. So there's been problems going on, as far back as we can remember. So I like to now start asking people, what is one thing in the scene that you would like to see changed?
I would like to see the younger bands, like even even like Sucker Punch. We worked on that project for 2 years, and we couldn't get any traction. We couldn't get we couldn't get people noticed the band, and people that did come out and they liked the band, right? Said we were a great band, right? But we couldn't get any traction. We couldn't get into venues. We couldn't, you know, I couldn't tell you how many phone calls I made and how many buttons I gave out and how many posters I made and dropped them off to all these places, and you never get a call back, and uh, you never get the recognition, of being a new band or a new face. And I would like to see newer bands like that get recognized and get a face, because they're new bands like that. They're the next thing. They're the next thing. You know,
Especially if there's the
how many
younger
how,
musicians.
how many bands are going to sustain in this town? You know, how many?
For how long?
A
You know what I
few,
mean?
a few, only a few. And if you keep doing it long enough, yeah, you're going to get your following, and you're going to get your people and whatever like that. I know bands that have been together 10 years, and they're just starting to get recognition now. And they played all the clubs, and they played all the places, right? And they're finally getting their traction now. After 10 years, that's a long time, you know, to create a following.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the scene, or if it's the venues, or if it's the bands themselves, or whatever. But there's no new music. That the younger generation, there's no new music. If there is, uh, it's not really gaining ground that way either. So we have to play. Majority of the bands, or cover bands, actually in this town, in Milwaukee area, are playing covers from the 80s, 90s. There's so much new music. Like I said, we were dipping in, like Shelly Mack. We were dipping into bands like Dorothy, which is phenomenal. They're a phenomenal new band. Dirty Honey, phenomenal new band. You know, and they're gaining traction on their own level. Which is great, because they're hooking up on tours, which is great. But local bands that are doing that type of music, and everybody's listening to the same type of music. Everybody wants the same thing. Don't Stop Believing, or some Poison
Bon
tune.
Jovi
Everybody
and
wants to
yeah.
hear that. Right, Bon Jovi, whatever. Everybody wants to hear that. But even those bands, right? Even those bands, Journey and Bon Jovi, they have new music. Listen to it. Listen to the new music. You know, it's it's good music. I'm not saying it's the best that they've ever done, right? Everybody has their own opinion, but there is new music out there. And if you know, take off the blinders. You got these blinders on. Take them off and see the big picture. There's so much good music out there. You know, there's a lot of European. If you like heavy metal, or some type of hard rock, right? There's bands in Europe that are touring all over the place that never get recognition in the United States, because they don't come to the United States, because they're getting their popularity over there, right? Bands like Eclipse, um,
So as far as the
come to
as
mind.
far as the younger bands, right? So you got the younger bands. I've noticed that exactly, that the younger bands, that the newer bands aren't getting very much traction. But
No,
what I'm seeing is that those younger bands are going trying to book their own nights. What I don't see so much is the veteran bands that do have the crowd that are like, hey, we're getting paid such and such for the night. Either we do have a couple $100 to throw an opener, or hey, if you want the exposure in front of our crowd, you guys can just use our stuff and, jam out, to kind of get your name out there a little bit. Those kinds of things I don't see anymore. When I see two
no,
bands playing or multiple bands playing, it's multiple big name bands, not
yeah,
somebody big with somebody smaller. So,
yeah,
do you think, out of your years, do you think that that is something that can really help?
absolutely. Absolutely. I went and saw a band. I just happened to stop in uh, at Paulie's one night, and I saw this band. They're called M as in Mary, and they have this. It's just four young guys, and they do kind of a they have kind of a Pearl Jammy sound. Like they sound kind of like they do a lot of Pearl Jam, so that they're doing covers and originals. Their original stuff is outstanding. And I've actually gone to Shelly and I said, "Hey Shelly, we got to have them open up for us somewhere. Let's pick a bigger venue somewhere and see if we can get a show together with these guys." Outstanding. They're absolutely outstanding. Go see them because they only played. I think they played one time or two times in the Milwaukee area,
Right.
and yeah, fantastic band. You know,
And yo-
and there's
and
a
younger bands. Remember, promotion and marketing is everything, and things are changing now. QR scan
absolutely,
codes are dirt cheap.
absolutely,
If you don't have one or don't know how to get one, hit me up. I have a subscription where I got like a shitload of them I can use. I'll
absolutely.
get you a code. I'll even make a little flyer and send out the little 3x5 so you can go promote yourself. So when you're done on the stage, you go around the crowd and you start hitting everybody with this little flyer with a little scan code on there right away so people can find you. The people are not going to remember your name very much. Or like, oh yeah, we got a cool bit, banners. Banners work too. Get a banner, but put your scan codes on them. Like those scan
Yep,
codes are everything. You see some of the newer bands like Smart Mouth, I see has a lot of those scan codes. Like there's a lot of the newer bands, the pop bands that have them.
yep.
And
Shelly just got that. So
yeah,
yeah, we started doing that. So
yeah, all the different new promotional tools that are out there. There's great people out here to help you do them. So reach out and everybody, you heard it from a man with 52 years experience on them drums. That
it helps.
that it really
Any
helps.
type of promotion helps. I couldn't, like I said before, I couldn't tell you how many posters I've given out, buttons. Uh, Shelly, we got new T-shirts now. We got the new logo, which is right
Yep,
here, and it's you know,
yep,
keep it fresh and keep it going. You
yep.
know,
So
just
grab all your
yeah,
promotional tools and then go find a bigger band and say, hey, we'll play for free if we could play in front of your crowd. Yeah, I bet you can open or close
absolutely,
for us because we want to party with our friends. Go ahead and close for us. Now you got somebody's crowd and something to promote with. So, like, I
absolutely.
mean,
Plus you have their crowd.
yeah,
You
smaller
know,
bands,
so
find another bigger band to gig with, and bigger bands, let them. Let them. I know it's like, well, I mean, we want to expand the crowd too, right? But remember, you were there too. So, I mean, like, for every five you do with a bigger band, do one with a smaller band or something.
yeah, yeah,
you know,
absolutely. Yeah, that's a huge thing if you can tie in and get a newer band to to do a dual show with. So,
yeah.
yep.
What was your biggest who? Well, really, because multiple people. I know, at least in my situation, it's multiple people. What are your biggest influences for getting onto drums in the first place, rather than staying on piano or getting into a flute?
Oh, well, there's national levels and then there's local levels. So, getting on the drums in the first place, it's what I chose to do. And then getting in bands and getting better in playing with other guys or um, the when I was younger, I would go to like festivals and stuff like that, and I would see the bands there, but couldn't get into bars at the time. You had to be 18 at the time, so I couldn't get into bars, but we could go to state fair and stuff like that. So and back in the day, there was and actually they're still around. I mentioned Steve Grimm earlier. Bad Boy. They came to our school and they put on a show at our school, and I was looking at them going, "That is what I want to do. I want to do that." And ironically, I am good friends with all of them now. So the whole thing of wanting to be on a stage and doing what they were doing. And now I'm friends with them. So, over the years, I just became friends with them. So I'm really good friends with Lars, their original drummer, and Steve Grimm, of course, and Johnny and Joey at the time, and all the guys that have gone through that group. Numerous different drummers, and now they have Zeno and Craig Evans, and good friends with all those guys now. So they're a band that I saw back in the day, and I went, yeah, that's what I want to do. So that's what I did. I, I'm sorry, I got on a tangent here and I forgot the question.
Yeah, yeah. Biggest influences.
Well, influences. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you just went on. You said the local.
For me,
Yeah.
drums. Like I said, on a local level, those guys or whatever. Uh, uh, Playing in bands. A friend of mine, Jim Winters. Uh, he turned me on to uh, playing like Rush and stuff like that. And then you hear Neil Peart for the first time, and you go, "Holy cow, what is that?" So that got me into learning stuff from that particular band and following them, and Neil Peart, you know, greatest drummer in the entire world. So and always will be to me. So that's my opinion. I'll keep my opinion.
Right.
Yeah, so uh, on that level though, Neil Peart, John Bonham back in the day, uh, Buddy Rich, of course, is the master. I think Neil Peart learned from Buddy Rich, so his influence was Buddy Rich, and I think every drummer has some type of connection back to Buddy Rich and the Gene Krupa era and Louis Bellson and all those guys. So I think every drummer, even today, will still go, hey, look up a YouTube video and see Buddy Rich playing and go, oh my God, what's that?
What's that?
Guy's an alien. Yeah, complete alien. So, numerous different influences, I guess. My friend Jim Winter, I used to follow his little bands around or whatever. And he was popular. He was in a band called Bad Habit, which another friend of mine, Jackie Ramos, came from. And Jackie was with Bad Boy and Moxie Rocks and all them bands. And he went on actually to uh, move to the national level with Hurricane Alice and Bangalore Choir. And he lives out, I believe he's living in Nevada now. So, and text each other, maybe once every 2 or 3 years, stay in touch. I met him many, many moons ago. And so those, on a local level, national level, Neil Peart, Buddy Rich, there's so many great drummers,
Right.
so many. Dean Castronovo from Journey, Steve Smith from Journey. Um, I can't, I can't even name them all.
Right.
All these. There's new drummers out now that are just outstanding. Achilles Priester, you know, amazing drummer. You know,
Yeah, yeah. There's
um,
that guy that goes around on the reels in your Facebook, and he does everything one-handed.
one-handed. You see that guy?
Man, he's
Monster.
what made me get a
He's a
set again.
monster.
That guy is fucking
Absolutely,
amazing.
absolutely. One of my favorite bands is Dream Theater. I love Dream Theater.
Very hard
I
to
love
play.
it. A very oh yeah, extremely hard. I can't even. I would have to practice so much to learn some of that stuff. Mike Mangini, and Mike Portnoy, incredible drummers, absolutely incredible. Portnoy's back with Dream Theater now, which is unbelievable. So that's gonna be outstanding.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I see you got a lot of the acoustic kits back there. Uh,
I
now,
do.
now, there is so much that goes into drums. We got the E kits, we got the acoustic kits, we get the hybrid kits. And then, of course, we have different materials that everything is made out of and everything like that.
Yeah.
So instead of saying what pros and cons of whatever and everything, I'm going to just say, what is your favorite set that you play on and
The
why?
Shelly Mac kit.
Your Shelly Mac kit.
My Shelly Mac kit. Yes, it is. It it's a custom kit I built myself. I got all the shells. I drilled all the holes, did all the bearing edges, put all the rims together, got all the hardware, put it all together myself. Um, I have posted pictures of it numerous times, and it is my best sounding kit out of all the kits I've ever used. It's gone through a few bands actually. Um, it made it into Modern Drummer magazine, which was an incredible thing. 2023 September issue. They had this thing called Kit of the Month, and I submitted it to it, and they chose mine for that issue. So
Nice. With
so now it's a worldwide phenomenon, I guess. And this is actually the kick drum right here behind me. Um, but the whole kit, I posted numerous pictures of it, and it's gone through some transformations. It doesn't look exactly how it used to, but I do uh, I do some different wraps on it, and it's by far my best sounding kit out of all the kits that I own. And I think it's up to 8 or 9 now. So I think at one time it was 10, but I got rid of a few. So
right. Well, I understand some people not wanting to give away too much game about what they do to get their sound. But what is one thing that you can say about your kit that really sets it apart from other people?
um, it's got a thicker kick drum to it. So the kick drum has more of a resonant tone than a lot of kick drums that I've used with other kits. It's got a deeper sounding tone to it. It's hard to describe. It's got a really good thump, you know, under the microphones, but it's it's got a real unique resonant tone to it. It's thicker. It's a thicker shell. So um, I don't know if that makes a difference or not. I would imagine it does. Uh, you know, some of the other kits I own, the drum kit or the kick drums or the drums themselves are a thinner. You know, maybe not as many layers to the wood, but the kick drum, this kick drum right here on the Shelly kick drum, it's got a thicker tone and it's a thicker shell. So I think that's what differentiates everything. And you know, I love having that thump, you know,
That thing that
and
punches through people's chest across the hall. Yes.
absolutely, you got to have that.
Go.
Absolutely, you got to have
Oh.
it. You know, yeah. And the toms themselves, I've gone through different heads, different series of heads on those, and I settled on the Aquarian Super Twos, which are to me are a great drum head for this particular kit. I don't. I've used them on other kits too, and they sound great. You know, those heads sound great. But on this particular kit, they sound fantastic. So they sound different than any in my other kits. So, and that could be, like I said, that could be the shell itself. You know.
Right.
So some of my other kits still have that plastic shell on them. You know, this one started out with wood, and it's it's wrapped and painted and it looks cool and it sounds amazing. So and here it is, you know, award winning. I don't know if it's award winning, but it made Kid of the Month in Modern Drummer magazine, which is cool.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So you've been drumming for all these damn years, over 50 years. How important and what is a trick or two in how to keep a balance in life between your home life and being in bands and working. You know, everybody's got a lot of things that go on in life, and they normally have to choose between one or the other. You know, and I'm sure you've been faced with that a couple times being in different bands. But what's something that you can say that is a good tip to help keep that healthy balance?
You have to have a great support team, whether it's your spouse or your children or your family, your whole family, whatever. You have to have that support. And I have had that my entire career, drumming career. I've had that. Everybody supports. They say, "Oh, Dave, you need to go do that. That's in you. It's you need to do it." You know, and it hasn't been easy. You know, it's something you have to work at. But you you know, I get to go do what I love to do, and some people don't get that chance. You know, because they don't have someone that supports you in doing that. You know, and my whole time that I've been doing this, I've had a great support team. My wife, Chris, she supports me 100% in this. She says, get out of the house, go do what you need to do. You know, that way she can have the house to herself. She can have the big screen TV, you know. So, yeah, and I love her to death. And, you know, and my family, you know, together we have 4 children. Well, boy and 3 girls, and they have children. The 2 girls have children of their own, so we have grandchildren now too. So, and there's no other feeling in the world than to be loved and have that support when you go out and do something that you love. You know, so
Right. So mental note, everybody out there, if your wife is unsupportive of you going out there and doing music, find another one. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
yeah, I
Don't
don't know
do
about that.
that. But yeah, it's really important to have that support system, and I think that's important for anything you do, not just the music.
Not just music.
Yeah.
No, no. Everything you do, you got to have that support team in your family. And you know, I love my wife and I love my children and I love my grandchildren, and they love me, and they love that I play drums and I do kooky things and I tell stupid jokes, and you know, and I play with my grandchildren, and that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. It's not about, you know, it's not about money. It's not about, you know, anything like that. It's some people, you know, they go out and they play music or whatever. They do it for money. Well, I think you're doing that for the wrong reason. You know, I really do. Unless that's what you do for a living, you know, then you have to support yourself doing that. But, you know, it's, I don't want to say it's a hobby. It's part of who I am, you know, so this is why I continue to do it. And I have a great support team, you know, and I love them to death. So here we are.
Oh yeah. I'm just waiting for that to calm down a little bit. It's my first time having kids in the apartment. I have this girlfriend now that has kids, and so she's over, and I'm all like, I just need to be in my room for like an hour.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
but all right,
Yeah, I'm actually in my drum room, which is downstairs,
right.
and if I would be upstairs, my cat would be going crazy, and you know, give me food, you know.
Right, come right on the screen with that tail.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Um. You mentioned that you do that you have or probably still do give lessons and stuff like that to the right people.
I don't
You
anymore.
don't
No.
anymore.
No. I tried that for it was I did it for 3 years at a music store, and in Right at the end of that, I was going through a divorce, and I had to give that position up. I still am in contact with some of those people at that, the Shirley who used to own the store, and it was a great experience. I got chosen over people that had degrees in music to teach drums, and they saw something in me to choose me over that. So, and I did it for 3 years, and it was awesome. It was very extraordinarily rewarding. So I look back at that as something I did, and I don't per se do it anymore. I could, but I choose not to.
Right.
You know.
Well, in the light of that, what's a little tidbit or two that you'd like to share with people that are hesitant about getting into drums because you got to move a lot of equipment and maybe I don't have good rhythm or, aside from the standard practice, 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 what would you like to, tell people to kind of get them to stay into doing it?
Um, into drums. Okay. Here's my first advice. They're loud. You can make them quieter, but they're loud. So you have to have people in your home that are willing to put up with that. Okay. Now they make electronic drum kits, right, which are a little bit quieter, and you can put on headphones and you can listen to your own loudness and your own mistakes. And I do have a over here. I do have an electronic kit actually, and I use it once in a while. I don't per se practice as much as I should, but um, so there's quieter kits and there's louder kits. But if you're gonna have an acoustic kit in the house, just remember that even though you want to, be the greatest drummer in the world, like everybody wants to be, right? There's other people around you that are going, "Hey, wait a minute, that's super loud. It's super loud. Stop that. Don't do this. Don't do that." So when I was younger, I could only practice the drums at a certain time, and once my dad came home, that was taboo. And there's a story that I could tell behind that too. I was I thought it was in the summertime, and I thought it was a Friday, so I thought my parents were at work, but it turned out it was Saturday. So it was early in the morning, and I went downstairs and got on my drums, put on my headphones, and the only thing I remember is the headphones being ripped off my head by my father, with his face all red, saying, "Get upstairs. You're going to be doing chores the rest of the weekend," because I woke him up. And it was something that I'll never forget, you know. So back to your question though, uh, drums are loud, yeah, and practice them as much as you can. You know, they say I used to teach this. Used to have a big sign on the wall when I had my teaching room. It said, well, "Does practice make you perfect?" It was a question, and no. And I see you shaking your head. No,
Practice does not make
no,
perfect.
it
Practice
does
makes
not make
permanent.
perfect.
How you practice is how you perform. If you practice
That
like
is
shit, you're going
correct.
to perform like shit.
That is correct. Practice makes you better. And that was always my answer to the younger students and the students that I had. Practice makes you better. It doesn't make you perfect. There is a non-stop learning process with this. I am still learning. Doing this 50 plus years, I am still learning how to do stuff. So I had a friend of mine come to a show a few weeks back, and he said, "How do you do that double bass stuff? I can't do that."
Your feet are
And
going
I
like
said,
this, really. It's kind of hard
and
to
I said,
explain.
"Yes, you can." I said, and this is a very dear friend of mine, Thomas. And he says, "How do you do all that double bass stuff?" And I said, "You can do it." He goes, "No, I can't." I said, "So, yes, you can, because I've heard you play." But uh, yeah, it's a never-ending process.
Yeah,
So, and
when
I,
drummers are gonna ask you stuff about how you do that double drum stuff, that either means you were going faster than they could and they want to know how, or you were cleaner than they were and they want to know how. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I don't know how I do it. I just do it. I learned, from my friend Jim and Jackie and all the other great drummers that I've met and seen. I just watch people how they do it, you know, and try to emulate that. And so I don't know how I do it. I just do it, and I've learned how to do it. Like I said, it's a never ending process. Just keep learning how to do it. There's things I don't know. I go see bands. I go, oh, how do they do that? Friend of mine, Andy Lomax from Six Pack Sammy, he does these fills, and I can't understand how he does it. Another friend of mine, Barry Yeager from Driving Miss Crazy. I don't understand how they do certain things, and I just, I ask questions and I say, hey, how do you do that? I don't know. I don't know. I just do it. you know,
That's
show me how to do it.
right, right.
And I've learned, over the
Are you
years,
putting
I've
a
learned.
shorter spring on your pedal or something or what? Like,
It could, yeah, it very well could be pedals. It could be, you know, whatever. It's
yeah.
practice, and these drummers that I go watch and see, they're amazing, and they're good. Some of them are good friends of mine. Some I've never met before, and I just learn from them. And I try to do what I do. I try to do the best I can, And I'm with Shelly Mack in a reunion, and we do songs that require certain things, and I just learned how to do it. I just do it my way. I guess I do it my way. That's how I
It's
do it.
probably the better way of learning because you got the people that will learn better by an instructor, or some people that learn better on their own. You're gonna better off to learn on your own, you know, and that's really awesome
Yep.
when you can run into people that have no problem showing you. So
Well, I've been extraordinarily fortunate to have that. Dating back to when I started to where I am now.
yeah,
How do you do that? Just ask the question. It doesn't hurt to ask. Just ask the question. How do you do that? How do you move your feet so fast? How do you move your hands so fast? Well, I do it like this, or I just do it. I just do it like that, or I do it like this. And and I just take what they tell me, and I try to incorporate that and practice it. And how do you twirl your sticks? Well, I just do it. I don't know.
right,
I learned from a friend of mine how to do it. It's just a stick trick, you know. So I can only do it with one hand. I can't do it with my left hand.
right.
I can do it a little bit. I can do it a little bit, but yeah, my left hand is weak. So nowadays, uh, people have YouTube, and YouTube, there are numerous videos on how to do things, on how to do, stick tricks and double kick stuff, and how the greats do it. Mike Portnoy has videos out. All the big guys, they all have videos out that show you what they're doing and how they do it. So having that at your disposal is incredible.
Yeah,
I watch YouTube all the time. How do they do that?
right.
Well, that's how they do it.
Man, they're like
You
fixing
know?
cars and shit. How the hell did they get that bolt out?
Yeah.
Like,
How to change the grips on your motorcycle.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Don't lose the little ball.
Don't lose a
You
little
know.
ball. Okay.
Don't, don't lose the little. Yeah, there's a little pin in there. Don't lose that, or you got to go to the store and get another one. You know. Don't. Yeah. If you're changing, you're changing your thing, or
Yeah, I was
uh,
looking at the heated
yeah, your
handlebars. So
grips,
yeah.
grips on your handlebars. Some of them have these little balls in there. If you lose that, if you drop it on the ground, you got to go to the store and get another one because you'll never find it. It's so tiny.
I just
So
had a freak
yeah,
out on my bike that was I went to go put in the battery for this season when it was warm out, and I dropped the bolt down on the bike and it never hit the ground. And now I'm like, Okay, I don't want to start it now.
Did
Until
you find it?
yeah, I had a guy come over with a
Yeah, it's
wire camera, and
down in that little plate.
yeah, it was like the camera's all on this side and everything, and then there's a little
Yep,
spot right under here, and it was like wedged
yep,
somewhere in there, and it's like
yep. Done that.
yeah, it was like right where like the shifter comes up. It's like if it would have gone up and then moved, it could have gotten stuck. So I'm like, yep, no, that's why. Nope, I ain't fucking with it. But
Yep.
yeah, yeah, YouTube University has been a term recently used because a lot of people are actually turning to YouTube to learn a lot of things, and it's sometimes being proven that you learn more. Like if you do 8 hours a day on YouTube learning a skilled trade versus 8 hours a day in a class or in a in a classroom, you will learn way more on that YouTube than you will in a classroom. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think YouTube University may
There's
be a
good
thing.
videos and bad videos though
Oh
too.
yeah, watch out for that clickbait shit. But
There's there's videos that you can watch the whole video and they won't tell you anything. So
right,
so you gotta kind of hunt through and pick and choose what's good for your situation. So
yeah, finding the right person to follow that will give you that advice. Yeah.
yep,
Well, shit, it's been a fun one again. He,
awesome.
and
Yeah, it's been great,
why don't you
man.
go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you and Shelly Mac reunion stuff.
I think it's a few weeks, 3 weeks later or something like that. We'll be out at Tipsy Turtle out in Muskego, which is the old AJ's, and that's a great place. In-house sound there too. I think our schedule is filling up now. We got a couple bike nights coming up in the summertime. We have a few private events coming up in the summertime, I believe. We'll be back at Paulie's on Harley weekend on that Saturday night. So we'll be there. We'll be at numerous different venues around town. Like I said, the bike nights are pretty cool. We're kicking off LD's barbecue out in East Troy uh, area. We're doing their first night or first bike night out there. I think that's coming up in when is that? May or June, I think it is. Um, we're also doing the Asia Bike Night again every Tuesdays in the summertime. They have Asia Bike. Jason Updike, he runs that show out there at Asia in New Berlin. We're doing that as well. Uh, we got in the summertime. We got a big one. Greendale Village Days is coming up in August. I'm sure we're going to have a state fair. Um, we're still working on that. We have Labor Day stuff coming up. We got stuff after that, even. So we're already booking into September and October. So, yeah, I think we're going to have another busy summer this year. Last year was very busy. So I don't know if it'll be as busy as last summer. There's things other people want to do, in the band. So yeah, looking forward to just rocking out and playing, and it's going to be awesome. But
You can have everybody head over to ShellyMacandTheReunion.com, ShellyMacTheReunion.com.
it is www.shellymacmke.com. Yeah,
Shelly Mac
and the MK,
MKE.
yeah, and the MKE is capitalized.
Nice.
.com.
Nice.
That is our website, and everybody can. It's updated. Bird, our guitar player, he updates that, and we got new promotion coming out. This is our new logo right behind me here, and
Yep, so you don't know how to spell it, just look at this drum.
yeah, look at that. Yeah, and we got, like I said, we got new buttons and T-shirts and you name it. New schedules out, and yeah, we're moving forward, upwards and onwards. So
Awesome. Cool. Well, that's about what we got on for today. I really
awesome.
appreciate you coming out again on the interview after that. Oh man.
Yeah, technical glitch.
It happens about once a year. I get something really major, and then probably like once every like 6 months, I'll have to like go through and update this software and get this new plugin and do all that. So, yeah, it's part of it. So,
Yeah, I can only
yeah.
imagine. Like I said, I had a hard drive crash. I had all my stuff on it. I could imagine just the whole thing just crashing like that. So, yeah, I feel for you, man. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, man. Well, don't forget to subscribe to anything that Shelly and Maggot Reunion has going on. Follow them on everything they got going on, all of their different shows they got coming up this summer. Show out and support. Grab a T-shirt. And in the meantime, until we get another point on here, don't do anything I wouldn't do. And if you do, name it after me.